Hello everyone, I'm Zishan Shah and welcome to Zinteractive, and this is the part B of the tutorials, materials and shaders. Now in this part we will learn how to create a render node, okay, and how to add textures like a bitmap images or procedural textures, okay, and then other things we will also go through in this tutorial. Now on your screen you will see a simple nerve sphere, okay, so there is nothing applied on this. What we need to do is that we just have to right click here, okay, and assign like a favorite material, because these are the materials which are basically you can see in the rendering option. These are the favorite ones, okay, or we will keep the we can apply existing one, but I'll just go here and I will apply basic Lambert material on it, okay, which will be Lambert 2. Now I have Lambert 2 on my nerve sphere. Now let's go and apply texture to it. Now if you see here we have the light, like the color, and if I change the color to whatever I want, it changes here. Now notice that beside the color there is a checker box, and this checker box is not only in the color, it's everywhere here, and not only in the shader, not only in the Lambert 2. You can find these in lights, objects, and pretty much in every other thing. This is basically input. So in Maya allow you to input a secondary file and a lot of different options. Like in lights you can do that, in objects you can do that, in in some other things. So now what it is basically, this will allow my color to be changed to something else. Now that something else can be a bitmap image or a procedural texture. So let's apply procedural texture here. Now how to apply? Very simple. You just have to click on this checker box. As soon you will click on the checker box, you will see here, because we are using like a material on an object, okay, that's why you will see here 2D texture, 3D textures, environment texture, and other textures are on. Others are basically not selected because it's pretty much smart and it knows where on what kind of object you are applying the material. If you're applying it in the light, so the lights will be on, and then if it is effects will be on. So now we have these 2D textures, 3D textures here, everything. So I want to apply a 2D texture which is basically a cloth like a texture. It's a procedural texture. So if I click on the cloth, so you will notice that the cloth is being applied, but it's not showing here. To see, I have to turn on my texture here, hardware texture, and as soon as I will click on it, I can see my texture. Okay. Now you will notice that I was in Lambert. I was able to see the Lambert option, but as soon as I apply 2D texture in the color, now I'm inside that 2D texture. I am not inside the Lambert anymore. What if I want to go back to the Lambert? To go back to Lambert, you will see in the 2D texture that you applied, you have two inputs here. Sorry, two options here. One is basically the output connection and one is the input connection. Now, this 2D texture is coming from the color of the Lambert. So if I click here, it will take me back to my Lambert. So if I click on it, now I'm inside my Lambert. Okay, so I can change the Lambert or anything. And now if I want to go back to my color, which is basically this 2D texture, you can see that instead of the checker, you can see this input value here. So if I click here, I will go simply back. So this is basically a level. So this is level 1. But if I will apply some other things, so I will move to level 2. So now let's first see this. We have here gap color, which is this black color here. You can change this and you can see that how it is changing. Okay, This is very procedural. You can change to whatever you want here. U is basically the one which is vertically applied. Okay, so if I will change anything, so you can see the U which is vertically around here is changing. Then V, the one which is horizontally around, which is this line. So if I will change this one, so you can see these are changing. Okay, I can change the color to whatever I want. Suppose I want this U to be blue, okay, and I want this to be red. So I can change these as I want. Okay, so I can do like, you know, the width of it, the U width. So the U width will change. Okay, I don't want it to be like more, so I can reduce it. Like more thicker, I would reduce it to thinner, something like that. Okay, or I want thicker, so I can increase it. So basically up to you how you want the settings to be. This is wave. You can add as much wave you want if you want it to look like wavy or distorted, so you can do that. Randomness, if you click here, so it will randomize it. It will not look you know, straight. And then you have width spread, so it will kind of keep on changing. Okay, the bright spread. So you can check all these settings whenever if you are working on it. Now, other thing I want to tell you over here is that right now we are in the level 1. As I told you, if you click here back, we will go to the Lambert. Lambert is level 0. Now here if I click, okay, because this is the only material that is applied right now. So if I click here, I'm in the level 1 of the color. Okay, now I can further go and keep on digging and keep on going on different, like, you know, different levels. So I'm going in the basement, I'm going down and keep on digging. So if I will go to the gap color, I can click the gap color here and I can choose whatever I want. Okay, for example, I will take any one of this. Maybe I will take water. Okay, and as soon as I will take water, you will notice that now I'm inside the water. That means I am on the level 2. Okay, which means I just digged one more floor in the basement. Now I can do these kind of settings, whatever I want. Okay, so I can change this, I can increase or whatever I want to apply here. Okay, so whatever changes you want to do, and it's a kind of applying on the gap. Now suppose I want to change this one, I can simply click here and I can go out, and you can see that it was applied on the gap color. And if I don't want this gap color as a water texture, I can right click here, okay, or just left click here. Let me go back. I can you have to right click on the name, basically. Sorry, not here. On the name you have to right click and then you have to press on the break connection. Now that water is still there somewhere hidden, but now it's not connected here. Now I can change it to something else. I can click here. Maybe I want to go to leather. I can go inside the leather and you can see now I can do some kind of different kind of settings here, and it will be applied on my gap color. I can go back to the gap color by clicking here. Now I'm back here and you can see that gap color have the leather texture on it. So if I click here, I will go back outside the Lambert. So level 0, level 1, and now I'm in the level 2 right now. Okay, so this is how you can apply any kind of texture and keep on digging and digging and digging. Now what else I can do is that if I go back outside here and then go back more out, and now I'm back to my Lambert. So what I can do is that I can apply a second material here, okay, in the transparency. Now remember, this is black color. Black means completely visible. If it is white, now white means completely transparent. So whatever is black is visible and whatever is white is invisible. Okay, so the white thing will clip out and black will remain on the screen. So if I click here and if I choose ramp, okay, Now ramp, what gives me is that it gives me a gradient of black and white. So just see on your screen, okay. Now wherever, let me go to the top view. So it is applying it in this direction, okay. So wherever you will see black, this is the black part. Black is appeared. Now from black it is turning from black, you know, from here, then gray, so like here it goes, then white, it reaches white here. So it basically goes from 1 to 2, for A to Z, for example. This is A, and then it goes to Z. So this is the whole thing which is coming from this direction to here, and you see as the black is converting into white, it is becoming more and more transparent. Suppose if I move this, okay, more closer, so you can see it is affecting here, okay. And if I move this one closer, so you can see this is affecting this one, okay. What else I can do is that I can add another ramp here by clicking here, and maybe I can move this here, or maybe I can change the color of it to completely black, and then I can move it here, and this one here. So you can have something like this kind of result, okay. So you can see that here it is pretty much solid because there is no you can see like a gradient here. Here you will notice that it's a slight gradient, a mix of color. That's why you will see a little bit blurry over here. So this is how the transparency works, okay, with black and white. And what else I can do? Like I can click on the cross to remove this. I have different kind of type of the ramps. This is the V ramp, so it is going around the vertical axis. If I will change it to U ramp, it will go around, the V ramp goes around the horizontal axis like here, and the U goes around the vertical axis. So you can see that it is coming, the black right now is on the bottom and white now is on the top. So suppose if I increase this one and move this, so you can see now clearly, okay. So white part, this is the white part, black part, this is the black part. Black part is showing, white part is not showing. So if I keep on moving up, so you can see the result just like that. Now I have here diagonal ramp, and then you can see we have radial ramp. So it's like a circular thing, okay, circular we have here. So different kind of ramps we have, and you can change to pretty much to whatever you want. You have spike, this is something, so this is interpolation. I don't want any kind of interpolation. I have to keep it linear. And I have box. I have 4 corner ramp, so you can see the 4 corner, but I will keep it to whatever like there is, and I can go back here, okay. And you can see now I'm in back to my Lambert. You can see that I have the color, I have the transparency, and this is pretty much the transparency work, okay. So this is how you apply the textures, and you dig in, you apply more textures. I can apply more and more. So you can keep on digging, and then you can keep on digging and digging and digging. So basically you can go in the transparency. You can, in the transparency also, you can see these checkers. So I instead of like selected color, I can apply something else, like an image over here. So the selected color will become that image, like suppose this one, okay. So then I can go inside that, then I can inside, then so I will keep on going, and I will keep on digging and digging and digging, okay. So basically I want to go back outside, okay, and then I will be here in my area, okay. So this is how you can you can apply and keep on digging inside the material itself. Now, as we know how we can apply any kind of 2D texture or any kind of color or shader on our object, whether it is Maya software or Arnold shader. Now we'll see how we can apply a bitmap image on any of the object. Right now in front of me is a NURB plane, and let's apply a texture over this NURB plane. So what simply I will do is that I will select this one, and I will go to my rendering shelf here, and I will apply the Lambert shader on it. As soon as I will apply, I will be able to see the settings here. And what I'm interested right now is to apply any kind of 2D texture as a bitmap here. Okay, so I want to apply a bitmap. So I will just click on this color checker box. Now, from all these settings, what I want is that I want to apply an image file. Now I have two options here. Either I can use file, okay, if I have a JPEG, or if I have a PSD file like a Photoshop file, so I can use the PSD file as well. And if you want to apply a movie, you can also apply a range of sequence of images as well. So, but in this case, I just want a simple file like a bitmap file. So I will just click on this file, and now I'm inside the file option. As you can see here, I have these. If I want to go back, I just have to simply click here. Same thing as we did before. Now I'm in the file. Now I have file attributes. The first thing that it's asking is, where is the file that you want to use? Now to load that file, I have to simply click on this folder icon. As soon as I will click on this, it will take me to my computer, and I have to choose the folder. Wherever you have the folder, you can go there. Now I have here different kind of like bitmaps or JPEGs and so many other things. So I will just click here, and I will choose file. I have this file, so I will choose this one, and I will just press open. And you will notice that this is applied on my NURB plane. Okay. Now, why I'm able to see it? Because as you know, we have turned on the textured hardware texture in the last session when we were working on. That's why I'm able to see it. If this is not on, I will not be able to see it. So simply you have to turn this on. Now, if I will go back here, I will be inside these settings, okay, of the Lambert. But I don't want to work on these settings. My goal is to work on the 2D file, this bitmap file itself. Okay. So simple, what you need to do here is that you have to be inside that file node. You have to click on this node, and when you are inside the node of the file, you will notice that there is another node created, which is Place2DTexture. If you click on it, you will get this kind of icon, okay, and you have different kind of other settings here. So let's see these settings one by one. Okay, so on the top, I have here my sample. Okay, before doing that, let's go to file and let's check what we can do inside the file. Inside the file, I have a lot of different things as well. I can work on these. If I'm bringing a sequence of images for as a movie, so I will work on this one, but at this stage I don't have that, so it is disabled. Color balance, if I will go, I have exposure. If I will change the exposure, you can see the exposure is changing, but I will keep it as it is, 1. Default color, I cannot do anything here because it's like a file is applied over it, so I cannot see what is the color beneath that. Color gain, so you can see that it can increase the brightness and the darkness of your material here. Okay. So I will not change it, I'll keep it as it is. So I will undo that. Okay. Let's bring everything back to normal. Oops. Okay. Color offset, it just offsets your color. Okay. Like from black to white, it moves it around. Okay. Good for printing purposes. Then you have alpha gain. If you have any alpha channel, then it will work on it. And you have all alpha, offset, and luminance also. Then we have effect here. If you want to apply any kind of effect, you can apply here. And other things you can explore. Pretty much they are simple to use. here if you will see color space, right now I'm in the sRGB, which is quite most of the cases sRGB will be used, but sometimes you bring images which are raw images, so you have to change the color space from sRGB to raw. So you have different kind of like color spaces. You should know what is the color space of your bitmap file. Okay, so if you know, you can change here easily. So usually the most common one are the RGB and the raw. Now let's go to this Place2DTexture. Now here we have a lot of different other settings here. The main one we will work is will be the 2D texture placement attribute. Now here you will have coverage. Okay, now what is basically the coverage? If you will see that the area which is covering my NURB planar is basically the coverage. 1 means 100%. So U and V both are like a U and V both are basically covering my NURB planar 100%. If I will make it 0.5, both of them, you will notice that now that image is covering the half of that, like, you know, section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, so half of that. Okay, so you can change it to whatever you want. Okay, so I will keep it 1 because I want to cover the 100% area of my NURB planar. Okay, now translate frame, what it is basically it translates your frame. Now whatever frame I have here, okay, it will able to translate that. Like suppose if I will it will move that frame. So this is my frame basically. So if I will type here 0.5, okay, so you can see that that frame is moved, okay, in the V direction. Okay, so basically this is how it works. So if I will change the U, you can see that it works like this. Sorry, this is U and this is V. So basically this is like the it's like a frame movement. Okay, not an actual image, it's just moving the frame around it. Okay, so I will keep it 0, both of them, U and V. So this is basically the translate frame. So it moves the frame, and when it is moving, it is attached to the like a continuation of the original frame. So it's unlike coverage, you will not have a gap. You will always see the other one is attached to it. Okay, like a original one is attached to it, will become like a tile, and between the tile it is moving. You can do the mirror U or mirror V. Suppose if you're using like these, so you can use this one. Okay, but in this case I don't want to use it. Okay, so it basically mirrors your frame, frame over here. Okay, so these more like settings you can check and you can play with it. Now the most important one is the UV repeat. Okay, right now my my U and V both are 100%. What if I will turn them into 0.5 and 0.5? So you will see it is it's kind of becoming bigger. Okay, because the repetition is kind of you know, decreasing. If you reduce the value, okay, so it decreases the repetition. So if I increase the value, it will increase the repetition. Suppose instead of 1, because 1 is basically, you know, it is normal. If I make it 5, you will see that on U and V it is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 times it is repeating. So this is how you can make tiles. Okay, so I can make it 100, or 100 I think is too much, so let me make it 10. So this is how you can do that. Okay, you can offset these tiles. Okay, I think it will not work right now. Let me reduce the value, and then you will be able to see that. Okay, so suppose if I will change it to 5, this one maybe 10, So you can see it is offsetting from the ground. So I will keep it 0, 0. It will be like this. If I will reduce it to maybe 0.1, so you can see it is offsetting from here. Okay. So this is what does offset do. Okay. And then there is rotate frame and there is rotate UV. Rotate frame rotates the whole frame from a different pivot. You can see that how it is working. Okay. And rotate UV rotates the U and V axis of your texture. So if I will rotate it, you can see that it is rotating from a different perspective. Okay. Like a different, you can say, like a pivot point. Let me make it 0 and 0. And now if I try to do that, you can see it is a little bit different. Okay. So I will keep it 0. Now what is the noise? If I increase the noise, like suppose 0.5 here, 0.5 here, it will convert my image into a noisy form. So suppose if I will make it 0.1 because 0.5 was too much, you can still see this one is also too much. Let me make it 0.01. 0.01 both sides. You can see that how the image is now jiggling. Okay, like a kind of a jelly or roughness, like turbulence you will see over here. I can make it fast noise or slow noise. It's up to you. So this is how you can change these settings when you are applying like a bitmap. You can do different kind of changes here. You can make it as what you like, whatever you want. You can do coverage change, translate change, and so many other things. Another way to see the materials and work on the material is through Hypershader. Hypershader is basically like the hypergraph, but it's for shaders and materials. To get that, what we need to do is that simply we have you can go on the top menu and you will see like a shortcut for the Hypershader, or you can go to Windows and then in the rendering editors you have the Hypershade. Okay, so when you click on the Hypershade, the window is quite big, so you can see that we have all these like more like settings here. So you will see a lot of things on your screen. It's kind of overwhelming for the first time when you see, but it's very straightforward. Okay, so this is basically everything given to you. When you right click on any of your objects, remember it asks you to assign, and when you assign, you see this kind of window here. It's already given, you don't have to open. Okay, when you choose Fong or Lambert or any of the material from your shelf or you're applying, all are here. Okay, so existing material, if you remember, there is existing material. All these are the existing material which is showing that these material you have used inside your Maya, inside your scene. So there are materials, there are textures. If you can see, there are a lot of textures, there are utilities, rendering, lights, and so many other things. You can see that. Okay, these are different like more like settings, but these settings are pretty much you can find here as well. Okay, now what we will do right now here is that first let's see how it works. Simply I have applied a wooden texture on this table, and then this wooden texture you will see it is here because it is existing. If I click on this wooden texture, okay, so you can see the setting of that over here. Okay, and what it is basically the same thing what you can find here is the same here, but the good thing is that it gives you something like this kind of icon. What is this? You can rotate and orbit around with the same kind of shortcuts that you use in the viewport with the alt and the buttons and all those kind of things. Okay, so I can roam around here. Okay, I can orbit around here and I can see that. Right now I'm in the hardware. Okay, I can go in the Arnold as well. So if I go in the Arnold, you can see that it starts rendering, and little bit you will find it very slow. The reason is that because it's rendering at the same time. Okay, so it's not ideal to use Arnold, okay, because it will make your computer a little bit slower, but the result will be accurate. You can change the light settings of the Arnold. You can go to the neutral light settings, okay. You can go to the exterior color light settings, so it will take you to exterior model, exterior color, or you can add your own, different kind of, you have options here. You have exterior too, but I don't want to use the Arnold because it will make my computer a little slower, so I will choose the hardware. Other than that, on the bottom you can see there are a lot of different kind of settings. These are the same settings that we have worked before. The same settings that you see here is here as well. Okay, now pretty much you can go here and you can change this shader ball to cloth. You can change it to teapot. You can change it to whatever you want. Okay, but shader basically, like shader ball is pretty much usually the one that a lot of people uses because it has so many details that clearly tells you what kind of how the material will look like on different kind of objects. It have curves, it have solid edges, it have hard surfaces, so so many other things. Now let's do one thing. Let's make a new shader using the Hypershade. So as you know, we have created the shaders by simply going to the shelf or right clicking. Okay, but now let's see how we can make a shader through the Hypershade. Simply I will click on the Hypershade shade shortcut. Okay, and I will be inside this window, and you can see I pretty much don't have anything on my screen. I just have the Lambert, which is applied, and different other kind of things. Then I have things from in the lighting. I have two Arnold lightings and other things. Okay, so to start with, what I can do is that suppose I can create a node. Okay, or what I can do is that I can simply click on over here. Okay, and create a node from here as well. I can click here and then it will create a node and bring it on the side, but I don't want to do that because I want to create a new one. So this is how you can create a node. Okay, now I want to create an Arnold shader. So I will just simply go to the Arnold here. I can go to the Maya also, and I can go to the 2D, or I can go to the surface. And in the surface you will see everything related to the surface. Phong, you will see Phong, Lambert, blend, and anisotropic, and some other ones. Okay, but I want to go to Arnold and Arnold shader here. Okay, and inside the Arnold shader I will go to the surface. And then I don't want to go to the volume because volume is basically for lighting. So I will go to the surface, and in the surface I have AI standard surface. So AI standard surface, I will click here. As soon as I will click, it will give me the material on my screen. Okay, over here in this area. Now don't get confused with this. What it is basically, this is the same thing that you see in the attribute editor. Basically you can see in the attribute editor the same thing here. Okay, but if I will go and take my Arnold IPR here. Okay, so I will go to the Arnold and I will choose this one and turn this off, render right now. Okay, so you will notice that, let me do one thing here. So don't worry about what I'm doing right now in the renderer, because we will learn about all these things when we will move to the render part. So now if you will see that I did made a AI standard surface, but I don't see it here because I have not applied it I have not applied it on my material yet, on my object yet. So how to apply from a Hypershade. Okay, simple. What you need to do is that you have to select your object here on which you want to apply your Hypershade material, and then once this is selected, you will go back to your Hypershade. Okay, and either from here or this one, this is the one which you can see here. Okay, you can right click here or here. Suppose if I'll right click here, it will give me an option, assign material to selection. So now remember, the teapot was selected. We selected the teapot, then we came here. So if I will apply assign material to selection and minimize this one, you can see that it is applied now. You can see the result is different and it is applied. So this is how you apply from a Hypershade. Okay. So now basically, if you go here, you can see that it is already applied. Now this is the same thing reflecting over here. Okay. Now one thing good about the Arnold shaders is that it gives you presets. Okay, so you can check the preset from here or here, pretty much the same thing. Okay, so if I click on the preset, you can see here there are a lot of different kind of presets. Suppose I want like a copper sort of shader. So I can go in the copper and replace. Replace means completely it will replace with the existing one, or you can blend with the existing one. So the same thing I can do from here, or I can go here, preset, and I can choose, like suppose I want this teapot to look like a balloon. So I can go to the balloon and replace. So now it looks like a balloon, you know, like those helium gas balloon. Okay. And if I want, I can go back to the preset. I can change it. I can make it clay. So replace with a clay. So now it more looks like a clay. So this is pretty much things which are very interesting. Okay, you can make it plastic. It will become plastic. But I don't want that. I want to undo. I don't want to apply any one of these. Okay. Now, suppose I'm here in my my shader for the teapot. Okay, now I can change the color here, but remember we applied the 2D texture last time. We will do the same thing here. So if I click on this label color for the base, it will ask me again the same thing, that what you want to apply. So I want to apply, maybe this time I will choose like a checker. So if I will select the checker, you will see that the checker is applied and it created the node. If I go here, okay, you can see that simply there is a checker here. Let me turn on the shader here. Okay, let's go back here. Okay. Okay, so let me assign it again. Okay, so because I think it was not updated. Now let's see if it is applied. Okay, now it's there. So you can see the checker material is on my teapot. Now, I have my teapot material here, and you will notice that some other kind of nodes are attached to it. Now, what are these basically? Don't worry about these. What are these basically? These are the same thing that you find over here. Okay. Like suppose if I go to the checker, I can see the checker material applied. If I go inside the color here, I can see the 2D texture and checker as well. I can go out. So these are the same thing here inside the Hypershade, but they are now with the connection. It is showing that the base color have a output from a file which is the checker, and it is coming inside the base color. Okay, now just see, if I click on the checker, I can see the checker more like settings. I can change the color of the checker. Suppose I don't want the color of the checker to be white, I want it to be something else. I can change it to whatever I want. Color 2, I don't want it to be, like suppose if I want this to be a yellowish, so I can make it yellowish. Okay, but I will keep it white as it is. Okay, I can change the contrast. So different kind of settings you can work over here. Okay, now Place2D texture, if I click on it, I will go inside that 2D texture option, which is the same 2D texture option that you see. Okay, so let me make it a little bit smaller, okay, in order to see what's going on. Okay, like suppose if I just go here, if I select this, you can see in the attribute editor it shows me the setting of my main material, my AI surface like shader. If I click on the checker, it will give me the setting of this in the attribute editor as well as over here as well. Okay, then in the Place2DTexture, it will give me the same setting here and here as well. Suppose I don't want, okay, this to be 4, the repeat. I want it to be maybe 10. I want more checkers, so I can increase 10, 10, and you can see I have more checkers on my like teapot. So this is how you get different kind of a kind of a setting on your like material when you apply it. So suppose I can this line, if you will see, it is coming from the out color and it's going to the base color here. Okay, if I press the plus icon, you can see RGB here, but I don't on RGB here as well, but we don't have to worry about that. Now let me make it a little smaller and let's zoom out. Let's move this one here. Okay, and let me make this screen a little bit bigger so it becomes easier for you to see around. Okay, now I think it is visible, quite visible now. Now this line basically, it's showing me it is coming from my out color of the checker and going to the base color. Now what if I take this line and you can see it is disconnecting and I leave it just like this. So now you can see that that line is not anymore there and I don't have my checker over here. And if I want the same thing, this out color, and applied to some other area, okay, some other option, I can apply over there as well. Suppose if I go to maybe transmission color, okay, and apply on the transmission color, okay, so now it is applied on the transmission color. And but in this case I don't want the transmission color to be there. Suppose if I go here and apply back to the base color, it will come back. Okay, now one more thing you can do here is, let me disconnect this from here and let's go back to the normal one. This color, I will select my AI surface shader and make it completely white. Go back to my checker and I will try to apply this to the transmission, not the transmission color. Now if you will see here, this is green, my out color, and transmission over here, if you will notice, this is green as well. I cannot connect green to green. Okay, I can only connect green to red or red to green. So in this case, what I need to do, I have to click this plus button here. As soon as I will press, I will there are RGB. Now R can be connected to the green one, which is basically this transmission. So if I will take the R from here and go to the transmission, and basically you all know what is the transmission. It creates the refractivity, like a transparency. So if I will go to the transmission and leave my option over there, my button over my checker here, so you will notice that it is kind of making it transparent, as you can see here and here as well. I just need to do more settings here, and it will be it will have more kind of a settings, like more kind of a like a setting over there. Okay, so I can increase this more or less. Suppose I will make it white, so you can see that whatever is the white area you can completely see visible, and whatever is the black area, you can see it is transparent. Okay, so now I hope it will be clear more how it will work. Okay, other settings, if you want to keep it, you can do that as well. Here, more clear, you can see here as well. Okay, one more thing I can do is that I can go to the Place2Texture here, and instead of repeat 10, I can keep the repeat 4. So you can see how this is being shown. So you can see the white area is showing, and the black area, and this black area is basically is becoming invisible. So black part shows and white parts clips out. So this is basically how it works. So if I will go to my settings here, and then index of refractivity, as I told you before, index of refractivity works with the transmission. So if I will decrease or increase, you can see how it is affecting. Okay, so if I will increase it more, so it will look like this, and if I will decrease it, it will kind of look like this. Okay, so I hope you have understood how to make these materials, okay, with the help of your Hypershade. And what else we can do is that I can bring up any other material, like any other object, like material from here. Okay, suppose if I want a 2D texture here of a cloth, I can click here. As soon as I will click it, you will see that it is appeared on my screen, but it is not attached to any of the node. So what you need to simply do is that you have to simply take this out color and apply anywhere wherever you want from here. Like suppose I want this to be inside the base color. Okay, so let me go here, take the out color and go to the base, and then let's see the result. This is how it will look like my cloth, but let's change the color of the cloth so we can see more nicer result. So keep in mind your checker is also applied as a transmission. So let's see how will be the final result. So this will be the final result. So I can bring more and more of any textures, and I can apply wherever I want, and I can apply others, and I can apply on these as well. So instead of going here and applying inside these and keep on going output, outwards, and then applying, then going inside, so it will take quite time. Okay, but if you do that in the Hypershade, it will make your life more easier. So you can see in the color I have here the material applied, and in the transmission you can see the color is also applied. So I hope you have understood everything about how to create your materials and shaders. Now in the next tutorial we will learn about more about how we can apply, after making the materials and shaders, how we can apply them, what are the UVs and all those things. Okay, so thanks for joining, thanks for liking my videos, thanks for subscribing me. So keep sharing my videos to others, and if you have not subscribed it yet, please subscribe to my channel, and also please press the bell icon so you get the notifications. All these tutorials are free, and there are a lot of other tutorials will be coming up in the next sessions. So spread this channel and spread the word. Keep telling others to join this so they can get the benefit out of it, because it's completely free, and these are the complete master courses, complete courses, which is ideal for experts, for beginners, for every level of the person. Okay, so thanks for joining. See you in the next tutorial. Bye guys.